I named the first frog Cletus. That was the name of a man my dad used to buy pills from. Felt like a dirty name. The kind of name that would survive the end of the world by hiding in the dark and eating mold off pipes. Cletus looked at me through the glass. He stared like he knew something was wrong with me, and like he liked it. It was a dumpy tree frog. If you want to sound smart, you can call it Latoria caerulea. People call them dumpy, like it's a bad thing. Like they're too fat. But the frogs don't care. They just hang there, soft and saggy like melted green ice cream with eyes. Have you ever seen something so ugly that it made you feel better? Other frogs were already here. Cuban tree frogs. They got here first. They crawl into toilets. They eat the local frogs. Maybe they eat happiness too. No one asked them to come, but they're winning anyway. I thought, if Florida is already falling apart, maybe it should fall to something with a face like Cletus. I didn't mean to breed them. At first I had 1 frog. Then 2. Then 20. Soon my bathroom sounded like some weird alien swamp. If the neighbors heard the noises, they didn't ask. Florida people know when to mind their own business. I was 1 croak away from getting kicked out. Tadpoles lived in old food containers. Insects for feeding took over the kitchen. One morning I woke up and found a frog sitting on my eyelid like a warning. That's when I knew I wasn't collecting them, they were spreading through me. Florida is already full of things that don't belong. The weather doesn't belong. The people don't belong. Even the plants are from other places. The lizards look like they smoke and gave up on life. So I thought, if the world is already broken, why not break it on purpose? Why not fill the cracks with frogs? The first release. The first place I let them go was behind a Wawa store. I brought a big bucket filled with young frogs. I didn't give a speech. I just poured them out. The ground there was wet and smelled like old blood. The frogs didn't rush out. One just looked at me like it was asking, "Are you sure?" I wasn't. But I wanted to believe in something. So I whispered, "Go make Florida better." I didn't think anyone would notice. I thought the frogs would disappear. But then I saw one at CVS stuck to a Redbox machine like it was picking a movie. Another sat in a broken bird bath behind a Walgreens. Another on a shopping cart floating in dirty water. Maybe they were working. So I let out more. Parking lots. Hotel fountains. Golf course ponds. Behind dumpsters. Behind dentist offices. Places no one cared about. Like a church, but for frogs. No notes. No questions. I just let them go. They moved slowly, like tiny monks walking into the unknown. And they started showing up. At night I'd see them stuck to bus stop ads. Sitting near Waffle House signs. Not hiding. Just being there. Like mold but with purpose. Things got strange. I kept breeding more frogs. Too many. Eggs filled my fridge. Bugs escaped into the vents. Tadpoles lived in jars in the bathroom. The floor squished when I stepped. I stopped going to work. I didn't care anymore. I told myself it was holy. That they needed me. But then things changed. One frog had too many toes. Another had a second mouth under its chin. One blinked sideways, again and again, like it was remembering something that never happened. One made a sound that shook the window. The water smelled strange. Like electric mold. I wore gloves but my skin still itched. I started coughing up green stuff. At first I blamed the mold. But this mold hummed. I wore gloves. Then a mask. Then I stopped caring. One day I coughed up a big green film. I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't want anyone to know. Then I looked in the mirror. Behind my ears, my skin was soft and green like cooked spinach. My pupils were wide and dark. It didn't hurt. That scared me the most. Change should feel painful. This felt like giving up. The croak. It started in my throat. Not pain. Just pressure. Like a balloon was growing in my neck. One day I was in the cereal aisle and made a deep, wet croak. I didn't mean to. The store lights flickered. A woman nearby turned. She blinked, smiled at me. Not a kind smile, a hungry one. I croaked again. She dropped her basket. The followers. It kept happening. I'd go out at night. Sit by ponds. Croak. Not for help, just because I needed to. And they came. Women. In heels and bare feet. In dresses. In work clothes. Drawn to me like bugs to light. They didn't talk. They just watched me. Their eyes swirled. Something was inside me now. Maybe it was the smell. Maybe the sound. Maybe more. I knew every wet ditch in town. I glowed under gas station lights. I had power. And I didn't need to understand it to use it.